Live from Las Vegas, here's John Canzano with the Bald-Faced Truth.
Okay, there's a weird phenomenon going on right now. Oregon State's band and cheer team has just walked by, and the fans for the Pac-12 women's tournament, the gates are open. They're starting to come into the arena. And I was telling Steven during the commercial break, like, I have a daughter who played club volleyball, and one of the weirdest things about club volleyball is that the parents are all giant. So you get all these parents who are all tall coming in the building, and that's no different at a Pac-12 tournament. Michele Brink has arrived at the broadcast booth. Michele, I was just saying, you can tell the basketball parents because they're all these tall people
Very
suddenly.
petite.
All these tall people start long. There's a lot of length that starts to come into the arena. How you doing?
We're doing well. Thank you. Thank you for having us.
Yeah. What was the scene outside as you're waiting to get into the arena? So, the gates open and everyone comes in. How festive is it feeling out there with Oregon State and Stanford fans kind of standing side by side?
Oh, it's really fun. Everyone's being very polite. But the best part is when your team band does the entry and the Stanford tree. I always take video. I'm like, it never gets old with the tree spinning around and being crazy. And then the girls come up and they welcome them in. So it's really fun.
They, you start out and your kid's playing like rec basketball or AAU club basketball, and now you elevate to the point where she is one of the best players in the country, maybe the best player in the country, and playing in this tournament. And what's that like for you as a parent to see Cameron kind of go through that?
It's definitely a pinch me moment every time. When she didn't want to play basketball initially, she didn't want to play any sports. So
really,
yeah, she wanted to be an artist. She said, "I'm a contrarian. Everyone in the family played, so I'm going to do something else." And then finally, about going into 6th grade, Sonia Curry, we were visiting them in Charlotte. And there was a basketball camp going on, and I said, "You can't sit home all day. You can't sit by the pool." And Sonia's like, "Please just go try the camp." She went, she came home exhausted, but she's so competitive. It was all boys who had played, for years. She's so competitive. She's like, "I want to go back tomorrow, and I want to go back tomorrow." And then we moved back to Amsterdam, and she made the team there at like a grade below the other kids. And that's, when kids get a little bite of success, that usually feeds and fuels them for the future.
She found a love for it.
Yes.
And, you mentioned the Curry family. You guys have a real connection with them. And can you help our listeners understand, college roommates? Or
we were, yes.
Yeah.
Sonia and I were college roommates. And so now this fall, we will have been friends for 40 years.
That's crazy.
Yeah. I'm the godmother and Greg godfather to their two, the oldest boy and the daughter. Seth, the middle child, we claim as ours, but he's not officially our godson. And then the parent, Dell and Sonia, are our children's godparents.
And that explains some of the, we would see like Steph giving Cameron a nod on social media or whatnot, or showing up at a game or
that's right.
whatever. I mean, that's kind of an interesting thing. Like, can she get something from that? Like watching someone she's probably known since she was little go through that in front of her?
Oh, for sure. He's always there for advice. Seth is the same way. Sidel, they're always, even better than her parents, right?
Yeah.
Because we could say the same thing.
To you.
But if Stefan or Seth or Sidel say it, it's like, well, they said. And I'm like, exactly.
You're like,
they're great mentors, so soak it all in.
Yeah, we're talking to Cameron Brink's mother, Michele Brink, right? Did I get that right?
That's correct.
I got it right. Okay.
Good job.
All right. So how much has this game changed since maybe you were in college and
since I played?
Yeah. Like let's talk
ages.
about like the progression of women's college basketball from then to now.
Yeah. Well, I think it's a game. If you love the game of basketball, the fundamental game of basketball, and you've seen the growth, and Caitlin Clark has done a great job by shining the light, and Sabrina shooting against Stefan at the All-Star game. If you love fundamental basketball, and the skill level has grown exponentially, you're going to love women's basketball. It is typically very team oriented. The sum of the parts, is what makes it whole and fun, where sometimes in men's basketball it can get a little ISO, a little 1v1, and that happens in the women's game. It's still exciting, but I think people are beginning to really, if you really watch it, it's a great product.
I was watching the Oregon State Colorado, the double overtimes in the final 5 minutes. It was back and forth, great plays on both ends,
Yeah.
great shots. But you're right. There's a motion offense, and the ball, everyone's touching the ball, and it's not boring. The NBA bores me. I got to say, like,
Yeah.
it's just.
A lot of people say
Yeah.
till they get to the playoffs, they don't even want to watch it.
Yeah.
So tune in. You're going to love it. If you give it a chance, you're going to love it.
All right, so let's go back. This is a kid who grows up in Oregon and goes to Stanford. Nobody begrudges that. Like, you have a chance to go to Stanford, you go to Stanford. But was that a tough call, or was it Stanford all the way for her?
It was pretty much Stanford all the way for her. Although her brother could not play basketball or run. He had problems with his feet, but he became a rower, and he was recruited by multiple schools in the Pac-12, ended up going to University of Washington. But what we did during that time, when he would go on official recruiting visits, we would ask her to go on official and unofficial, pardon me. And so the teams were really gracious and, brought her in and let her see the facilities and meet the team. And she was always really humbled and blown away. But once she found out, you have to have the right grades and the right test scores to get into Stanford. And once she found out she met that standard, she was pretty much done.
The world of NIL has, your kid's been in the middle of it as it blossomed.
Yes.
And I know we talked, I think, a year or two ago when she got a deal with Portland Gears. She was designing a sweatshirt for them, which I've seen. I've seen some of those sweatshirts around here.
Yeah.
What has that been like for you guys to have to navigate, like, uncharted territory? How much has it settled down since it started, or has it?
I wouldn't say it's settled down. No, it's definitely, in fact, we're both retired. My husband and I are retired. So we have the bandwidth we kid around and say we play momager and dadager. So we try to do as much of the lifting for her because she is still a student athlete. Especially at Stanford, there are no breaks with the professors there. So we try to, we put eyeballs on the deals that come across the table before we even present them to her. And then, we make sure she can, the lift can fit into her calendar. We try to outsource things. So we don't want anything to take away what the focus should be.
Right.
So
that's good.
Yeah.
Not everyone has that.
No.
And you even look around, like, on the Pac-12 rosters, you don't see kids who have parents who have been through it or even understand it.
Sure.
A huge advantage. We're talking to Cameron Brink's mother, Michele Brink. All right, give us an idea, because most of us are not going to have a kid who goes through that. Are you talking about, like, everybody and their brother reaches out? Can she do this? Can she do that? Can she put her name to this or that? Or how? What's that funnel look like as you try to narrow it down to what she really wants to do?
Yeah, that's a great question. She has an agent. She has a team, actually. She's part of CAA.
Okay.
And that's another kind of family connection. So her agent was here last night, but her point person, so she kind of has a 3-person team. She has her agent. She has her point person who manages their calendar and helps her with...
I need one of those.
Right? And helps her with managing, like, what the contract says, what are the deliverables on the contract.
Yeah.
And then she has a salesperson who actually, besides some of the big deals that come through, it's almost overwhelming. We've had to say stop, because brands just want to send her stuff in hopes that she will post it. And we laugh that her Stanford dorm is like a New York City apartment.
Yeah.
Like, only if 3 things come in, 3 things have to go out, because it is like, it's...
We do that with stuffed animals in our little ones.
There's only so much capacity.
Yeah. You can buy the stuffed animal, but 3 have to leave.
Yeah.
Leave the flock, so to speak. All right, when she has a good game versus maybe not so good game, are there markers you look for early on where you're like, hey, if she's active here, what are you looking for tonight when this game starts?
Sometimes, I always tell her to control the controllables. And then sometimes there are things that go on during the game that she has no control over, like how it's being officiated, et cetera. You have to try to make adjustments to that. Like, yesterday was uber physical.
Yeah.
Like, they were allowing things that were a little off the hook.
Were you yelling at the officials?
I try not to, because it doesn't do anything. Like, what are you going to do? You can't do anything. There's no changing it. So, but I think just having fun. Like, I tell her that all the time. And we just say, treat it as your playground. This is where you go to have fun. And no matter what the score is, we always say you're loved.
Yeah.
Like, no matter what the score is, no matter how many points or rebounds you had, we're not going to love you any less.
Yeah, right.
So just go have fun.
Parents always say that. Like, what should they say to their kid on the way home from a youth sports game? What do you say to parents?
Nothing. Where do you want to go eat? I mean, nothing related to the game. Talk. What do you want to do? Do you want to get something to eat? Do you want? What do you want to do tomorrow?
Yeah.
Just if they choose to talk about something that's related to the game, certainly talk to them and always try to. If there's something, because my husband and I both played, and if there's something coachable, we always try to sandwich it, with something good on the front and good on the back. You always want to put the sticky stuff in the center.
Yeah.
And, then just move on.
I really loved how you responded in that moment where you got a bad call against you.
That's right.
But what were you thinking when you didn't block out in the second quarter?
Yeah.
that kind of stuff. I always think, too, that, I'm looking at club sports right now and youth sports, and we're seeing parents get technical fouls. We're seeing bad stuff happening. I don't remember it being that way. What is going on with youth sports?
I think oftentimes parents are living vicariously through their kids for whatever reason, and they're getting too animated and it's becoming too negative. And you have to separate it. You're there to support them and be positive. I've sat on and done a podcast and helped support this woman I used to work with at Nike who wrote a book about parenting. It's a really good book. I can get the name of the book to you. But really what it's about at the end of the day is just telling them that you love to watch them play. And that's what it should be about. It shouldn't, again, be about how many points or goals you scored or, home runs you hit. It's, it's supposed to be fun.
Yeah, make them want to come back the next time and not have it be
joyful.
So heavy. And I think, too, I always say, I have 3 daughters, and I will say if something bad happens in the game, they get a bad call or, there's a turnover or miss a shot, whatever. Yeah. I think sometimes those bad things happening, it's okay. Because they learn at a young age that, hey, bad things can happen.
Sure.
It's your response to it now that matters. But I think as parents, I get it. The temptation is you want to fix it, and you want to game it for them so that they have success. But I just think a little struggle is okay. Did Cam struggle at any point and any level? Do you remember her having struggles?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, she struggled yesterday. She had foul trouble. She had to sit. She shot, I think she was 5 for 18, which is not characteristic for her. And so she's mad at herself, but she had 15 boards and a block and I don't know, who knows the stat line.
Yeah,
but what I did, she was tough on herself afterwards. And so we always follow Stefan, and I looked at Stefan's box score and he shot the same thing. He shot 5 for 18 yesterday. And I said, look, the greatest shooter in the history of the game shot the same percentage as you yesterday. Let it go. Just next day, next page.
I want to show you this photo that my photographer at johncanzano.com took of your daughter yesterday. She's on a fast break, and she's got a smile on her face as she's laying the ball in, and it's joy. Yeah. There's a little bit of joy there. And you don't often, because players are in the heat of the moment, they're competing, you don't often see them have a moment where they can actually have a half smile or a smile. But she looks like she's having fun.
She did. I remember that exact play, though. It was kind of funny because I think she was hit hard and went down.
Yeah.
The play continued, and so then I think Kiki got a quick rebound and looked up and threw a long pass to Cameron, and she had an easy lay-in.
Yeah.
So she's kind of like, it was like she was cherry-picking almost.
Like, hey, that worked.
She's not usually in that. My husband and I looked at each other. I'm like, I don't think she's ever been that far ahead of a break. She's never been in that situation.
I was wondering if she was thinking, should I dunk this or should I lay it in? And then she smiled.
So our friend, I think maybe that went through her head, but that's a legend. Jen Az just came to the table. I think with Tara, she can in practice. She has dunked. But with Tara, if you do something like that and you don't make it, you're going to be sitting.
Yeah.
So she's like, I've already been out for fouls for too many minutes. I'm not chancing.
I'll just lay this in.
Exactly.
All right. This decision that's in front of her next season.
Yes.
Stanford, WNBA. What goes into making that decision?
Multiple factors, and what we have told her is just be where your feet are. be at today's game, hopefully you win, then be at Sunday's game. And then when you're ready to make the decision, so what we've been doing, my husband and I have been doing, is gathering information from her agents and from people like Jen Azing, Nneka Ogumake, what are your thoughts, her coaching staff. And so we've compiled everything, and when she's ready, we'll push it across the table to her and let her figure it out. And again, whatever she decides, we're here for it.
Is it hard to focus on where your feet are when the world is out there waiting for you, or you're getting asked about it? And,
yes.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
How many times do you get asked about that? Fans?
Yeah.
When you're walking through the casino, what's she going to do next year?
Yeah. And then it's hard for her, I think, earlier in the season it started at the beginning of the season when coaches from pro teams wanted to come to practices and GMs, et cetera. And I think, that it was exciting, but it was also very distracting. And so she finally got to a point where she shut it all down and realized, if they want me, they want me. If they don't, that's okay. I'm just going to do the best I can.
There are some players I think that have to audition. She's not in that role.
Oh,
don't you think her body of work is out there?
I think so. But as a competitive athlete, you still want to prove the work you've put in.
The conference championship in the regular season looked like it meant something to her and her teammates.
Yes.
Does a championship in this tournament mean something? Oregon State fans are hoping no. But does winning this tournament mean as much, or is it different, or what is it?
I think she's uber competitive. She wants to win every game. I will say the conference championship meant a lot to her. She wanted to close it out and, win 4 in a row. I think, and I hope, that this means as much, but at the same time, especially, we watch how the pieces of the puzzle come together, and Ohio State losing today.
They didn't show up to play, and they got beat.
Yeah. But that helps us. That helps probably solidify a one spot for us. So in a way, I hope she wasn't paying attention to that, because you want them to, come out all gas. But we'll see. We'll see who wants it more today. It'll be interesting.
I have talked to coaches about this. Scott Rook, Kelly Graves have both talked about this. And I have a 21-year-old daughter. Okay, and so she's very consistent, but she's still 21.
Right.
Like, these are still kids in a lot of ways that aren't like fully, developed
brains. Still forming.
I'm trying to be nice about it, but you were expecting them to be consistent, and then they're not, and then we go, what's wrong? They're who they are.
Well, pros go through the same.
Yeah.
I mean, you can have a streak of 3 incredible games, and then you have a game where you're off. And that's just, there's so many factors that go into it, like who you're playing that day, how did you sleep, how did you fuel your body, there's, or the other person just played out of their mind, like there was a game this season, I don't want to mention the player's name, she usually shoots 36% from the floor. One insane in the membrane against us. So
51.
Yeah. I mean, and Cameron's Tara is very much a scout, a scout, and these are the tendencies, and we play and we defend to those tendencies. And then when those tendencies they're an outlier that day, do you make adjustments? So it's always an interesting. That's why that's what's fun about sports. It's so unpredictable.
You as a Oregonian, I would like to see WNBA in Portland.
I would too.
Would that be something on your bucket list? See your kid play for a team that was local, or
100%.
Do you need that space? Do you need some space? You've got space from her now.
We do.
Yeah.
We're a very close family.
Yeah.
And when we were speculating if it could happen, I mean, no, she would live at home. Are you kidding? She would want us to cook all the meals and do her laundry.
Right.
She definitely wants her space, but she would find it, and we would leave her alone. We're really good about that. Like, hey, I need this time.
Yeah. It's hard because in some sports, even with a kid like Steph Curry, okay, he could walk through the casino. He's obviously, people are going to recognize him now. But when he was playing, no, he was just a normal-sized person. But when Cameron walks through the casino, people turn, they know her. They know, Is it hard for her just to kind of blend in at Stanford in a way, or how does that work?
Well, addressing the casino, it was interesting, and she's not. So in Stanford, she blends in.
Yeah.
Everyone is amazing there.
Yeah.
I mean, so what? You play basketball.
Right.
The person you're sitting next to in class is, possibly going to cure cancer.
Right.
Who knows?
Right.
I mean, they're
Right.
just elite, amazing people. And that's what she loves. Like, although initially she had imposter syndrome, she's like, I'm not supposed to be here. Like, these people are all too great. But that's what's beautiful as time has gone on. She knows this is what I bring.
Yeah.
And they want to talk to her about what she's great at. And she can't, get enough about what they're great at. But here, I think this year, maybe because it's the last year of the Pac-12, it has been a little crazy. They had to assign a security guard for her to walk
Really?
through because, not people are so nice, but
Yeah.
they just couldn't get from point A to point B.
Yeah. So I noticed the team came in. I didn't see her with the team. Is that because she was walking separately, or?
Oh,
I didn't
don't know.
notice her with the team, but
she
I wondered
was?
if she had an interview or something.
Oh, I
and,
don't know. Or maybe she went to get additional treatment, but
Yeah.
she was out with the band.
Okay.
We saw her
All right.
out there. So
and then
maybe-
I noticed she had ice on her elbow, ice on her back. Is that normal post game?
No. She had problems. She got knocked
Yeah.
around a bit yesterday. So elbow
Yeah.
and hip
Elbow and hip.
took a beating.
I have to think that we're at that point of the year where
Yeah.
everything's sore. All right, I'm going to let you get into the arena. Get with your family. Good luck to you guys.
Honor to be here. Thank you for having me.
Honor to have you on. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Leave it here. I'm broadcasting from MGM Grand Garden Arena. You got the bald-faced truth.
Papa Murphy's Triple Pet Pizza is